Hey campers, my name is Pat and I'm super excited to do this activity with you today. I like to call it reduce, reuse, replant. What we're going to do is grow plants and vegetables from kitchen scraps. It's super easy project, super fun. Everyone can participate and help out. The one thing to keep in mind is we will be using a kitchen knife. And so adults, if you have a camper who might need assistance, please stay nearby so you can help them with the cutting part of the project. Now, the fun thing about this is it is kind of a sciencey experiment, sciencey kitchen experiment. We're gonna try growing all different kinds of things, and you get to watch over the next few weeks what grows and what doesn't. It's kind of part of the fun is to see what will happen. That's why I like to use the word experiment. So I've tried some of this project over the past couple weeks, and some plants have grown like crazy and other ones have not done so well. So I'm learning as I'm going. But that's part of the fun, I think. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna go over the list with you. First, I'll show you the vegetables that I'm going to be using today, and then I'll go over the other supplies that you're going to need as well. And then I'll give you some time to gather everything up and we'll get started. Here are the vegetables that I am going to use for today's project. You might have all these vegetables in your house, or you may just have one or two of them, and that's okay. I'm going to show you how to do this, and then you can do it anytime you want. Maybe if you're really curious about the growing from carrots and you don't have any today, you can ask somebody the next time they go to the grocery to pick some up for you, and you can do the project then. It's really that simple that once you know how to do it, you'll be able to do it anytime if you want to and are curious. In our house, we love vegetables. We eat a lot of vegetables, and I'm curious to know which vegetables you like. So as I hold them up, will you give me a thumbs up if it's a vegetable that you know and you eat and you love? If it's a vegetable you've never had before but you're curious to try, give me a double thumbs up. And if it's a vegetable you haven't quite gained a taste for and you don't love yet, maybe give me a sideways, because sometimes you have to keep trying something again and again, and maybe give me a sideways and then turn it to a thumbs up saying that you're willing to try it again to see if you'll like it. Okay, so here are the vegetables we will be using today. I have a bunch of romaine lettuce. Now you can use any kind of leafy green, so any type of lettuce that comes with the base attached to it. That's the important part. See right at the bottom, there's the base of it. We want to make sure that all those leaves are attached together with the base, because that's the part that we're going to use. Need a whole bunch of celery, again with the base attached. A carrot, a full carrot, a green onion, or some people like to call these scallions. You can call them either thing. I have an avocado. And last but not least, which I'm guessing is going to get tons of thumbs up, is a potato. I set aside the produce so that we can gather all the rest of the supplies we need for today's project. I'm going to list those supplies for you now, and then I'll give you a little bit of time to go collect them, and then we will get started with our replanting. All right, for starters, I want to list a few things that you will use throughout the whole project that you'll need for sure, okay? Those items include some type of cutting surface. In this case, I'm working at my dinner table, so I have a wooden cutting board to protect my table so I don't cut into it. I could also be using our plastic cutting board, or sometimes I have like a plate that I'll use to cut on top of. Anything that the adults in your house think is a good surface for you to be cutting vegetables or produce on is a great solution. As I mentioned before, I'm going to be using a knife today, a kitchen knife. This one's called a paring knife. It's just a small knife that's good for cutting vegetables and fruit. It's not super big and it's not super sharp. but it's sharp enough to cut through carrots or celery. So I still want to be careful when I'm cutting. And again, I would like to remind adults to please be around to help your campers if you think they might need assistance, and to make sure that they are being safe as they're using their knives. In addition to the knife and the cutting board, there are 3 other items that you will need to complete your basic supply list. You will need a towel to keep things clean, some water, and finally some containers. These are about 2.5 to 3 inches tall. They're smaller, shorter containers made out of recycled materials. Like these are recycled yogurt cups. There's a glass jar. This is a little egg cup that we found that's nice and small. Anything like that that's small and is okay with the adults in your house for you to use would be perfect. In addition to these basic supplies, when we get to the green onion, the avocado, and the potato, I will list some additional supplies that you will need for each of those projects. All right, let's go ahead, have you go gather everything together. Remember, you need a cutting board, a knife, a towel, water, and containers. Go ahead and get those items together, and I'll meet you back here in a few minutes and we will get started. Okay, do you have all your supplies ready? Good to go? Let's get started. Now, the lettuce, the celery, and the carrots all use the same exact process to get replanted, so I'm going to show you all 3 of those together kind of at once. First, we'll go over the lettuce in detail on how I do that. And then I will show you the celery and the carrot real quickly. Here is my bunch of lettuce with the bottom attached, everything together. I am going to cut my lettuce about 1 to 2 inches up from that base. Okay, there's my base. And I'm just going to hold it down. I'm going to hold my fingers way over here, away from where my knife is. I'm going to pick up my knife blade, go 1, 2, and then I'm just going to saw straight through my bunch of lettuce from top to bottom. You will notice my blade is facing the tabletop or the cutting board, and I'm cutting straight down with my fingers far from my knife. So easy, right? Okay, there's my little piece of lettuce. This is the part that I'm going to replant. Now let me quickly cut my celery and my carrot. Quickly but carefully. Same process. 1, 2. And here's my carrot. One other thing I'm going to do with my carrot is cut off the little bit of greens that are on the top. You'll see, so I have a little teeny bit of the stem sticking out. 1, 2. Again, straight down, the blade facing. And there's my piece of carrot. Okay, so I have all 3 of those. Now they just need to go in a container with some water. It is really that easy, so easy. So I have 3 containers. These might look familiar from the other video that we made where you took the recycled containers and turned them into planters. And let's see, I'm going to take my lettuce, set it in one, celery in one, and the carrot in one. And then I'm going to add just enough water into each of them to cover the very bottom. I'll show you on the lettuce. I probably want to go up just about this far, just to cover the bottom part of my lettuce. Same thing with the celery. And same thing with the carrot. Carrot, even less water. Just enough to kind of just cover the bottom of it. And there are my finished plants. I have my lettuce, my celery, and my carrot, and they're all 3 ready to grow. It is that easy. Isn't that awesome? I'm going to set these off to the side so that I can show you a few plants that I started a few days ago. Here is my lettuce. That's got to be a good 2 inches tall. My celery. and my carrot. Lettuce is super fun, grows really fast. I actually have a tier on my counter where they get a little taller because we eat lettuce almost every day, and so each day I put a new batch of lettuce in water, so I have a little angle of lettuce that's this tiny tall up to about this tall, which is kind of fun to have on the countertop. And then I have, here's my celery. Now the celery takes a little bit longer. This one's actually about, well, probably a week or so old. Takes a little longer to grow. But this, what's fun about celery is if from the bottom you can get roots growing, then you can actually move it to soil and grow a whole big celery plant. And then here is my carrot. Now the carrot, I'm not growing a new root of the carrot, the orange part that we normally eat. What I'm actually growing is the carrot greens, and that's the part of the carrot that I'm going to eat once they grow. You can use them just like you would use parsley, and chop them up and mix them into salads, and they're supposed to be super tasty. So I'm excited to try those once I finally get enough to eat. And that is how you propagate the lettuce, the celery, and the carrots. So easy, right? So let's move on. The next thing I'm going to show you is how to grow a green onion. Here is my green onion, which can also be called a scallion. It's one veggie with two names. Pretty cool, huh? Like lettuce, they grow really fast. You will notice that it will grow overnight. And they're really super skinny, so you can put lots of them in one container, which can be kind of fun, and I'll show you why in a little bit. Let me show you the materials you're going to need to grow your green onion today. You're going to want some rocks and or marbles that are clean, like gardening stones, something like that, just little ones, little pebbles, and about a handful. You're going to need a small rubber band and a piece of kitchen plastic wrap. And what I'm going to do, first I'm going to cut it. Before I actually cut it, I want to measure it against the height of my jar because it needs to stick out above the top of my jar once it's placed in there. I don't want it to fall down inside. So I'm going to hold it against my jar to figure out where I want to cut it. So this one looks like I want it about 1/2 inch above. So I'm going to cut it right about where my fingers are. If your jar is a different size, you're going to cut it in a different spot. I'm going to move my fingers back after I get my knife in place and give it a quick slice. Okay, and now I have the base of the green onion. You can see the roots right there. They look like hair as well, don't they? All right, so I'm going to set that to the side for a minute while I get my jar ready. I have my jar. I'm going to put in a good sized handful of pebbles, and in this case marbles. And again, they were all cleaned before I'm using them. So you can see them down inside the jar. They cover about a quarter of the jar, just a layer across the bottom. Then I'm going to take my water and I'm going to fill right above the rocks. Just enough to cover them by maybe about another 1/4 inch. That's actually a little bit deep, just right above them. There we are. Then I'm going to take my saran wrap and I'm going to pull it nice and tight across the top of my container and put the rubber band around the edge. And you can hear, I want to, ooh, there goes my rubber band. Let's try that again, okay? My jar is now ready for the green onion to be planted. The top is nice and tight, like a little drum. I'm gonna bring it over here and set it down. And I'm still gonna kind of put my hand around it and hold it tight. And then I'm gonna take my knife and I'm gonna push it straight down through the plastic wrap, and I'm gonna give that a little turn. The knife, I'm turning it right in its spot, and then I'm gonna just set that to the side. Really, I'm just making a hole so that I can put the root end down into the jar, and I'm going to set those roots just on top of the rocks. You can see them suspended right there in the rocks. The plastic wrap helps hold the green onion in place, and it is poking out up above it. And then it is ready to grow. And I promise you, it will grow. Let me show you some that we have over here. This is a whole jar, or a whole container of them. I think there's 5 in here now. As I said, they're nice and skinny, so you can just keep putting many of them. I could probably add 2 or 3 more into this container. And then what's fun is they look like hair, right? So my daughter gave me the idea of making a smiley face. And then whenever we're ready to use our green onions in a favorite recipe, we give it a haircut, just like that. And then we go ahead and we use it for cooking, and we enjoy them very, very much. Let's grow an avocado. This is my favorite part of the whole project. Really, my favorite part is the plant that grows from an avocado seed. It is absolutely beautiful, and I'll show you that in a little bit. In the meantime, let me remind you of the additional supplies we need. We will need a spoon and 3 toothpicks, in addition to the other supplies that we have been using all day. Avocados are fruit. We are going to cut the avocado open to get to the seed inside, and it's the seed that we're going to use to grow a new plant. Avocados are a little harder to cut, so this will be a good time to get help from an adult. If you feel like you need a little assistance, and adults, please definitely be there to provide support for your campers if you think they need it. Avocados are a little bit shiny and slippery, and they are oval, and we actually need to cut all the way around the skin to get to the inside. All right, so let me show you how we're going to do that. I'm going to hold my avocado down on my cutting board. I'm going to take my knife, and I'm going to start at the very top of the avocado and sort of stick the top of my knife in to the skin, and then as I'm cutting downward, I'm going right along the whole top of the avocado, all the way to the back side of it. And when you're cutting, you'll feel it hit something, and that's the seed. Then we're going to take our avocado and we're going to rotate it around, and we're going to continue cutting back down the other side, all the way through. And then we're going to give it a little twist and open it up. Look how beautiful green that is. And you can see the seed right there. I'm going to use my spoon to pop the seed out. Okay, here is our seed. It's quite beautiful. The seed is sort of oval shaped as well. It has a pointier top and then a rounded bottom. And if you look at the very base of the bottom, it looks a little bit like a buckeye. It has a lighter circular area, and then it's dark on the outside. The top pointy part is where the sprout would come out, and the bottom rounded area is where the root would grow. We are going to suspend the seed into water just deep enough for the bottom to be submersed in the water. What's going to help us with that is our toothpicks. I'm going to hold my avocado seed, and I'm going to go down a little less than halfway down the side of the seed, and I'm going to pierce it with a toothpick. Oh, there we go. And then I'm gonna turn it, so you see, like that. And then I'm gonna turn it, and about the same length down the side of my seed, I'm gonna put another toothpick in. And then I'm gonna turn it, whoops. There we go. I'm gonna turn it one last time and put in a third toothpick. I'll show you what that looks like in a second. There we are. So I have 3, so this is looking at it from the top. If you looked at it from the side, you would see the toothpicks are all at about the same spot along the side of the avocado. If you look at it from the top, it looks a little like a helicopter. Okay, so then we can take it and we can set it right on the jar so it's suspended in the jar. And then I'm gonna take my water and fill it until it reaches just enough to cover the bottom of the seed. You can see, if you look real carefully, you can see the water is covering just the bottom of the avocado seed, and the rest of it is out above the water line. And that is all I need to do to get my seeds started. The catch with avocados is you need a lot of patience. Weeks and months worth of patience, but it's worth it. Let me show you the resulting plant once they finally sprout and grow. This is what an avocado plant looks like. Here's one. This one's about somewhere between 6 and 9 months old. And then we also have this one that's somewhere between 4 and 6 months old. Look how big this one is. My daughter's been using grow lights with it, so it's really happy and growing really, really well. Now you have to wait until the avocado sends its roots down into the water. You can see those roots come down and a little bit of sprout coming up above before you can transfer it into soil. I have one here. If you look at the side, you can see a crack in it, and that lets me know that hopefully soon it is going to send out a root. Once that happens, I can put it down into the soil, and what I want to do is I want to have my seed, when I plant it in the soil, the top of the seed is actually sticking out above the soil, just like that. And then hopefully a beautiful plant like this will grow for you. Our last vegetable is dun, 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 the potato. One of my absolute favorites. Do you like potatoes? I'm really wondering. If you do, why don't you share with us what your favorite type of potato recipe is? Do you like mashed? Do you like fries? Do you like hash browns? Do you like potato soup? That's something we love to eat in our house. Just wondering. So I have my potato, I have some soil, and I have this bag. Okay, and those are the things that I'm going to need to plant the potato. Now, there's one thing I forgot to tell you before about the potato is you want to have a potato that has eyes on it. Do you see the little nodules on there? Those are called the eyes of the potato, and they're actually new sprouts that are starting to grow off of it. And that's how potatoes reproduce. I went ahead and I prepared a bag with soil in it. You would just take a bag and fill it probably 2/3 of the way up with soil. Remember, I'm using a bread bag. You could use any kind of big container. When you're growing potatoes, you need a lot of soil. I'm starting them in here, but I'm gonna probably do a little looking around my house to see if I can find something bigger that I can actually truly plant them in. Okay, so I'm gonna take my bag of soil and set it right here off of the cutting board for right now. I'm going to take my potato and hold it down tight, and I'm going to cut off the part that has the eyes on it. For replanting, I'm going to take this whole piece. Now, normally what we would do is let it dry out overnight for about 24 hours and then put it down in the soil tomorrow. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pop it in the soil right now just to show you. I'm going to shove it down in there right under the dirt and get my hands nice and dirty. And then I'm going to clean my hands off with my kitchen rag. This is why I'm glad I have it. And then that is it. I would give it some water, right? And then keep an eye on it. And what I have only ever done this. I just started this for the first time the other day. And this is the one that I put in the soil the other day. And I want to show you. I pulled it out today just because I was curious. Rinse it off real quickly here. You can see. Look at the starts that are coming off of there. See all those little white root-like things? That is all new growth from 2 days ago. So I'm really curious to see. This one is the big experiment for me because I've never done it before. So I'm very curious to see if get nothing else, if I get a plant that grows from the soil and the piece of potato. And maybe I'll even get a whole bunch of potatoes. That would be super exciting. So that is how you grow a potato. I decided to wait a few days to record this last segment of the video so that I could show you the fruits or veggies of our labor. I wanted you to see how quickly things are growing and to be able to see what you can anticipate in the next few days and coming weeks. So look at our lettuce is, wow, good 1.5 inches, 2 inches high. Our celery is having beautiful leaves coming off of it. The carrot's not doing anything yet, but we'll give it a little more time. It's a little bit slower. Look at our green onion is nice and tall. It shot up. You can see that little sprout going up from the one side. Our avocado we know is going to take a while, and we're just going to be patient with it, maybe talk to it a little bit and coax it along the way. The potatoes, let's see what's happening there. Remember, I had put one in a few days prior and then planted the one. So this is the one I planted 2 days ago with you. And then here's the one that I planted 4 days ago. Look at those big, thick shoots that are coming off of it now. So these are growing like crazy. I think I'm gonna move them into a bigger container maybe later today. I just wanted to show you how quickly you'll see results. So hopefully you will see that very soon yourself. Before I close, I want to go over with you some basic care instructions. It's all pretty simple. For our lettuce, our celery, and our carrot, we want to change the water. Keep an eye on it. You probably want to change it every other day, maybe even sometimes every day. You'll notice it'll turn a little bit yellow or maybe look a little cloudy, and you just want to basically pour it out into another container. Just dump it and then refill it with some fresh water. Again, just covering right over the base of the plant, not too high. This water that I poured out, I will use on my indoor plants or maybe even take it out and pour it in the garden. No point in wasting water. It's still good water. It just needs to go into a different environment. The celery and the lettuce also need a little spritz of water on their leaves every day. That will help the leaves stay strong and grow and be more healthy. And once your carrot has greens growing, you can spritz that as well. Our green onion, the water only needs to be changed every maybe 5 days or so, unless you notice that the water's getting really cloudy and the roots might be looking a little mucky. Then you can pour it out, rinse off those roots, and then put fresh water in. The avocado, you just want to make sure that your water stays over the base of the seed. And the potato, I'm just giving it a little bit of water. I'm pretty much doing a soil check, which means I'm feeling the soil, and if it feels damp, then I know that my soil's in good shape and I don't need to add any water to it. If it starts to feel dry, then I'll add a little bit of water to it. But right now, even 2 days later, my soil is still feeling nice and damp. And that is really it. The only thing I want to remind you is that you do want to have them sitting in a sunny place. I think I had mentioned that earlier. Somewhere where you're getting a lot of good light, because remember, plants need light and water. Those are the two main things they need to grow. And then we get these amazing plants and this really fun science experiment. Okay, in closing, I am hoping that you will share with me any picture that you can of the plant that you planted and what you are growing. If you made a container with me the other day, definitely send me a picture of that with the plant inside, especially once that plant starts growing. What I'm wondering is if you tasted any of the vegetables once they were growing. That might take a little bit of time, or even the avocado. If you've never had avocado before, and after you planted that seed, you tried it for the first time, just let me know. Even if you didn't like it, I love to hear when people try new foods. I just think it's a great thing to do, because sometimes you never know. You might realize that you really love a food that you didn't think you liked. And then finally, let me know if you decided to try this experiment with a vegetable that we didn't use today. So for example, say you had a sweet potato instead of a regular potato and you tried that and it grew, let me know. Because if you try something new and you let me know about it, then I am going to try it too, because I want to keep learning and experimenting. Because that's part of the fun of all of this, is just trying new things. I hope that you had a great time with this project. I hope you have success, not just in having your plants grow, but that you're learning new things about the plants around you and the food that we eat, and trying new things. And I thank you for letting me do this project with you. I had a fabulous time, and I hope you did too. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and a super awesome summer.